Welcome to Be Iconic Conversations. Gonna come over to you to Facebook right now as well. And if you're catching the recording, what's going on, IG? We see you. Welcome to Be Iconic Conversations, y'all. It's going to be an iconic evening. Drop an L if you're watching live. Let us know where you're tuning in from right now. And let us know what degree, like, what's the weather like where you're at? What's the weather? I want to know. Is it cold? Is it hot? Is it rainy? I'm here in Florida and we had a tornado watch earlier. It's like, what? But, by the grace of God, we're all good. So let us know. We see you, Instagram coming on, Facebook. I'm coming over to you right now just to make sure that we're on. We see you as well, Facebook. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here, guys. Happy New Year. Yo, wow. See the community pouring in. The love is just outrageous. So blessed, grateful, and humbled by your love and appreciation. So we're going to get this actually started off really, really soon. And let me just tell you right now, the special guest that we're bringing on tonight, I have so many positive things to say about this young woman. She's a sister to me. She is an absolute selfless leader. She is, a mom of 5. I don't want to take too much of her story, but she's a powerhouse. So if you're on here right now, I want to see you in the comments. If you're on here right now, drop an L if you're watching live. Tell us where you're tuning in from and what the weather is where you are. This is Be Iconic Conversations, and we're going to really just kind of get into it. I see Strong Island, New York in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I know that there's, it's flooding here in Covington, Georgia. Stay dry, okay? The best that you can. I see the L's coming in for live, and we appreciate you. And if you're catching the recording, we also appreciate you. So go ahead, hit that little arrow, so you can share this right now. You can share it to your timeline. You can share it to your stories if you're on Instagram, and you can do the same thing on Facebook. And by the way, if you do that, when we're done, make sure you remember, because I don't want you leaving out, DM me shared. I got a special gift that I'm going to send to you. All right, let's go, y'all. Again, my name is Darren Walker, and welcome to Be Iconic Conversations, where we help people turn their iconic, unique story into a 6- and 7-figure business. So excited, so grateful to be on here with all of you and being able to just learn and grow and help people really, take what it is that they want and how they want to grow to the next level. Okay. And so I bring that to your attention right now because it's the new year. People are excited. People are fired up, as they should be. Hold on. No, that's the wrong one. See, I'm doing something right now in the backstage, and it's pretty funny because that's something else. Hold on a second. So I'm doing something on here right now, and you don't have to be the most techie or smart person on the planet to make this thing happen on a high level. There we go. But you get to choose to love to make sure that you're showing up to take things to the next level. So, guys and gals, as you're hopped in with us right now, we're going to hop right into this. I'm going to bring our guest on. This young lady, her name is Jessie Bouton, and we've got an actual surprise tonight for y'all that we will share in a little bit, but we want to make sure you guys and gals are tuned in. So I'm going to bring her on here. Before I bring her on here, though, I want to make sure people are locked in. So I want to ask you an open question. What is your number one goal that you have right now in 2024? Is it a financial goal? Is it a creation goal? Is it a family goal? Is it a wealth goal? Is it a leadership goal? Is it a business goal? Is it an online goal? What is your number one goal that you have going on right now? And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because we're going to be helping people with goals here in a little bit. We've got an event coming up here next Monday and Tuesday called Turn Your Iconic Unique Story into a 6- and 7-figure business. If you're watching here live, okay, we're going to put the link in the chat. It's also in my bio on Instagram, and we'll put it in the chat on Facebook. This event is for anybody out there right now that has a goal to turn their iconic unique story, their life, what they're passionate about, what they're driven about, to the next level. And I'm just telling you right now, if you're listening to me and you seriously want to take the momentum of 2024 to the next level, you're going to want to register for this event. We're going to have a lot of fun. I'm not selling anything on the event. It's a free event, but I'm telling you the value will be worth in the thousands. Okay. So enough of that right now. We're going to come on here and just bring, my iconic friend up here. And again, just so glad that you guys are on here with us and that you're excited to learn and grow. So let me come over here, make sure this icon is here with us, and she is. So here's how we're going to do this. Jessie, welcome to BeICONIC Conversations. I'm so excited that you're on here. I want to actually do one more thing. Boom. I want to do that right there.
Amen.
Jessie Bouton, your story is absolutely out of this world. I kind of want to do it a little bit more less informal this week on BeICONIC Conversations, just two friends talking, because you and I had a conversation yesterday.
Yeah, maybe 2 days ago, 1 day ago. I don't know. I can't remember.
Today's Tuesday. Yeah. So it wasn't Sunday.
Yeah, it was Monday. You're right.
It was yesterday. Look at that. And you're a mom of 5. I'm a dad of 3, about to be 4. Our days just kind of mashed together.
Yep.
Right? You're on here on BeICONIC Conversations, and like it says right behind your head, mine says BeICONIC. Yours says show up to blow up. Let's go. But first of all, sis, thank you so much for being on. You're a serial entrepreneur. You're a mom of 5. Your story is wild. When people hear your story, like, this petite lady, I don't even want to say it. You're going to get to say it. Just such a powerhouse. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the family here on BeICONIC Conversations and let us know who you are.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Darren. I'm always excited to, connect with you further and grow with your community and you with mine. It's such a blessing. I know that so many people are going to love this conversation, but also I'm going to plug really quickly your event, because I've got to sit down on some of your events in the past, and they are truly transformational. And one of the things that I love about it is so much value. So if you're somebody who's on the fence thinking about being in that event, be there and try to be there live, because there's so much that you just will take from it. It's powerful. He didn't pay me to say that. He didn't know I was going to say that. So just keeping it super real. I really, really, really protect who I bring into my circle and whose circle I will even consider entering. And Darren and I have just become so close friends. And it's honestly, I think, because of our passion for what we do. We have these similar missions and visions with our brands. And I'll introduce myself, I guess, a bit more formally, but really it's going to be super informal. As Darren said, I'm a super busy mom of 5. My oldest is 12. My youngest just turned 4. So about 2 years apart, all of them. I'm also a former professional 300-mile-per-hour world champion race car driver, believe it or not. That was my first career before I got married and settled down to become a mom, because those are the only 2 things I ever wanted to be in life, a race car driver and a mom. And I got to do both all before the age of 30. And over, a super awkward, a little bit of even a depressed transition time from this whirlwind career as a race car driver to helping my husband start and run a physical therapy business in our hometown, I ended up falling into coaching somewhat accidentally. And now, fast forward years later, I own the Millionaire Mompreneur Project, where I help motivated moms also monetize their unique story and take over the world.
I love it. And you're crushing that. And I love that you're able to help people win at a high level. Now, let us do us a favor, because although your story is iconic and there is no buts, what I do understand is that you crushing it, mom of 5, married, you started somewhere. And really, we love to talk about BeICONIC Conversations, where we help people earn income being themselves for a living through their story, through their gifting for the people that they're called to help. And, I think what's different about, what we do in BeICONIC world, we're not just helping people win through their stories, but we're helping people earn income being themselves for a living. The highest value on who they're called to be. Like, what's your real calling? Who are you called to impact, to bless them, to lead them to the next level? And the reason why I bring that up is, like, you just talked about you driving 300-mile-an-hour race cars. Looking at you, I just wouldn't expect that, but it started somewhere. So if you can take us back to the beginning, as far as back you can remember, just so people can understand, who you are and where you come from and how you got to where you are now.
Yeah. So I think I can tie this in pretty nicely too, and how I ended up taking my story, and I call it my profitable purpose as well. But it took me a while to get there. So that's what I love about, events and podcasts and things like this, is that we can really compress decades into days or weeks or months, as they say. And so we'll just kind of like breeze through this a little bit, because although, I just named a lot of shiny, fancy titles, the truth is I grew up from humble beginnings in upstate New York, small country town. Honestly, probably the biggest pivotal moment of my life at a young age, 11 years old, my dad passed away unexpectedly from a heart attack. And going through that experience, my mom was amazing, but at the same time, I had to grow up. I had to help take care of her through, that devastation and loss. I was an only child. And I ended up moving out at 17 years old. My mom got remarried and had 2 children when I was 12 and 15, which is awesome. I joke. They're only finally now my sisters. I'm in my 40s and they're in their mid to late 20s. We're only finally now have a sister relationship. But, I just really got lost for a while. I'm now very much a daughter of the King, but I wasn't for 30 years of my life. I didn't really know God before my dad passed. And then when he did, I didn't hate him. I just decided I didn't need him. He took my dad away, and I just didn't try to foster a relationship with him. And if we fast forward into the time after I retired from my racing career, I loved what I did driving those fast cars, but more than anything, it was about the impact that I got to make. I would speak in front of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people at not just events, but at national stages for Fortune 500 companies who did sponsorships for our types of racing and so on. And it was just absolutely amazing. But I fell into this little bit of a depression, and I really fell into this space of when I started to go online. I didn't think that I could, because I thought I had this story and all of these things happened to me. If I'm being honest, I kind of, I struggled with finances my whole life. Even as a world champion race car driver, I didn't make much money, to be honest. My team did. I made a little bit. I was struggling to get by and all the things. And I didn't understand that truly, actually, all the things that I had experienced in my life, from the loss of my father to the depression, to even at one point in time, at this specific time, actually, I was on the verge of probably going through a divorce with 3 kids, which sounds crazy. We never actually said the word, but we both were thinking it. And it was inevitable had we stayed the course that we were in. And I just felt like so many things kept happening to me. And I was frustrated and I was mad. And God opened my eyes through some of that, which was not a fun ride. It was a little bit of this, but that these things actually all happened for me, that they were a part of my unique story. And, I rekindled that relationship with God just because I felt so lost and alone. And I was just desperate. And God was the only one that felt like he was there with me in the dark, because my husband couldn't fix my depression. And, other people couldn't either. Medical doctors talking about different medications and such. And I didn't want to do that if I didn't have to. Nothing wrong with it, but I just wanted to try other sources. And, got to the point where actually someone opened my eyes to the fact that, Jeremiah 29:11, I have plans to prosper and not harm you. And that these things happen for me, not to me. And that's really what sparked the idea of me being able to have a personal brand. When I first came online, personal branding was starting to become a bigger thing, but I actually felt like I was being swallowed up at the time, because it was very much still some of those really prim and proper videos and the 5 steps and the how-tos. And, I felt a little out of place. And when I started to share my personality and my unique story, although I felt very not equipped, I was kind of just all over the place, just trying, people started to pay attention. And it was because I stopped trying and just put myself out there for the whole world to see with my personality and shared my unique story. And really, people, I think, were craving more of that in the online space. And that fad or trend has not stopped now. It's only continuing to get increasingly more desirable.
Yeah, no, I mean, first of all, we're going to unpack your story. I think it's super powerful, from dad to the race car to a lot of different things. I'm sure you told me, but I didn't know that mom remarried and you had two sisters, in their 40s and your 20s. I thought you were in your 20s. So that's just incredible.
You're a doll. You're such a
Hey,
liar, and I
it's
love you.
all well, but here's the thing though, like, getting to the point, as we have our icons, watching in from all over, and just kind of like, starting the new year, Jessie, in 2024, building a business online, building a brand, like in the community that we work in, I really spend a lot of time getting them to understand their value, understanding being goals, and they're thinking big. But now a lot of them are in the season of implementation, and how to make the right decisions, the smart decisions to, get your transformation statement, which is basically like your calling card, like how you're presenting yourself out there. Build a model. I don't want to get into the intricacies of actually building an online business, because it's really simple if you get to know how to do it. But what about the person that right now is like, I do have a story, I do have some impact, but how am I going to show up consistently online? How am I going to get over the cognitively incompetent in the areas that I am, to really start to show up and blow up? How am I going to really start to, okay, let's say I've been doing it for a little while and I'm not seeing the traction. You're going online, you're going live, and there's 0 people there. You feel like you're talking to nobody. There's frustrations. What are some of the things that you've done to overcome that, to get yourself to the next level?
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing that we all have to do, and I say think, but the truth is statistics and science prove a bunch of the things I'm going to unpack here to be true. But number one, I do believe that we all need to trust that if it's on our heart, it's meant for us, that God put it there, that it is not a matter of if, but when. And so the question really lies in if you are willing to keep showing up as who you need to be, as the one that the results you desire require to achieve it. That is the secret to all success. Everybody thinks it's strategy, and we could be here forever if we unpack this deep. I've built a 7-figure business now in part-time hours, but the short story of it is I spent more money than I made for the first 3 years.
Yeah, so we got to talk about that. There's going to be a season of spending money. I'm not talking about spending money, but in the art of investing in yourself and giving yourself time to come back from the investment and wrap your mind around what it actually looks like to grow, to learn, to take some shortcuts. Like, what if someone right now, Jessie, is going through a hardship? Like, what would you say on how they can do what you just said and continue to grow despite what may be going on in their life?
Well, I think when people are in that situation, and I say this firsthand experience, but you're just in that place of what feels like almost desperation, that you're just looking, searching for whatever that magic trick is, whatever that secret success, tip is. And that's where we start to look for strategy. Tell me what to do, I'll do it. Like, just tell me what to do, I'll do anything. I'm the hardest worker in the room. Yeah. Believe me, I know I was that person too. And one of the biggest things that was lacking is what I just mentioned a moment ago. It was the belief that, number one, it wasn't just a pipe dream, that it was meant for me. And it wasn't just possible or probable, but truly inevitable, as long as I was willing to keep showing up. And more than anything, hear me, I didn't dig into this deeper. Some of you might have caught it. And if you didn't, I'm going to hopefully really grab your attention right now. When I said, become the one that the results you desire require, what I mean is stop trying to achieve the goal and start trying to become someone who can achieve that goal. I don't care if we're talking about your 6 or 7 figure business, or losing 20 pounds, or having a best godly marriage, whatever your goal is. Truly, it is not about achieving the goal. It's about who you become along the journey to achieving the goal, because the only way to achieve the goal is to become the best version of someone who can. And so I'm the millionaire mompreneur. And when I was making $0, I would have laughed in your face if you told me to act like a 7-figure business owner when I was actually spending more than I made. I was like, yeah, okay, when I get there, maybe. But that is truly what you have to do. You have to start to think. I'm not saying spend like a 7-figure business owner. Please do not like misconstrue what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah, but you have to think like her, and you have to think, or him, excuse me, what is it that, for example, I teach people to build their dream business around the dream life and not the other way around. And the majority of people, statistics, science prove that over 92% of people try to go build their dream business and then hopes to build the dream life, which is why they are unsuccessful.
Yeah. No, I mean, that is just so clear. And no, I love that, because I mean, without being on a call, I remember building a network marketing company when I realized, like, oh, become the person. Like, how can I learn how to become the human being and strive to that? Because if you're going to hit the goal and you're not the person, first of all, you're going to lose, and then it gets discouraging, and then you stop. But then also, what's a really big problem that I've learned, when you're going to seek to hit the goal before you are the actual person, when you're the person, that's when people come up to you and say, you make it look so easy. It's not that it's easy. It's just that once you get, what, I'm going to just kind of bring up a network marketing reference, because I've spent so much time in that space. It's like, I remember when someone told me, to be successful, you needed to show 3 presentations a day, 3 to 5 a day. And at the time when I was brand new, I was like, how am I going to find 3 to 5 people a day? I was encouraged. I was like, how am I going to do that? And it felt like a lot, until I made the goal that I was going to do the disciplines to get in front of 5 to 10 a day. And I strived for that. And when I strived for that and I did it for long enough, what happened then is, when I did 3 to 5, it just felt like I didn't do enough. It felt easy, because I became the person to do the habits that created the person who was doing it higher than it was. And so I think people really do, fall short in expecting the goal without becoming the person. And they want to teach people too, and you definitely can't do that. You get to choose to love to be able to teach a person. Not that you can't teach a person until you've actually made it to the top. However, there's going to be a space there where you're looking to gain success based off of what you've done, and then you can lead people. So let me ask you this, Jessie. It's the new year. What are some mentalities that you can bring up to people to have them use the energy of the new year to have a really, really great first quarter? And I ask you that because to have a great 4 quarters, I believe it's not that you need, if you don't have a great first quarter, that happens in life. You can still really come back and crush it. Yeah. But what would you say would be your mindset right now to have an iconic first quarter, the steps, the mindset, to have just an outrageously iconic first quarter, for beginning of these first 15, 20, 30 days of the new year, to have just an out of the world first quarter?
Well, let me preface this with saying that there's this great quote by F.M. Alexander, and I'm going to paraphrase because I can never perfectly remember quotes, but it says, people don't choose their future. They choose their habits, and their habits determine and shape their future. And so that's such an important thing. You tapped on it, quickly with your own story, which I love, because people need to hear that. They're going to learn from that. And, I believe that so very often people just overestimate, I should say, even what they can do. So like you just said, you need to get in front of 3 to 5 people. Instead, you try to go to 5 for 10. And the truth is we're human. At some point, it's tough to keep up, or you miss a day, and then one day becomes 2, and so on. And so what you have to do is have a system in place to stay accountable to those habits. And I always say systems simplify processes, and processes are the pathway to power. And I call myself a undercover secret FBI agent, because I'm always looking for science and statistics to prove what it is that I'm going to share with people, just even bigger, right? For some reason, I can tell you this in this great, inspiring way, but unless you know that there's science behind it, you're just like, okay. And so to that, I will say, number 1, we as humans cannot change anything that we are not willing to acknowledge. And so I just want to ask everyone, if you want to crush this first quarter or next quarter or the whole dang year, you have to decide that what got you here isn't going to get where you want to go tomorrow, right? What got you here today. So we're not going to get you where you want to go tomorrow. And this is, I'm going to try to pull out, it was a study done in Scranton University. I am 99% certain that that is it. But it was a really great study, and I'm going to share with you what this study revealed. It revealed the one thing, this little trick that will double or triple your chances of success at anything. And it was the study, and the reference that they used was on exercise. But again, you can apply this to business and so on. It was talking about, they had 3 groups. The first group was the control group. So these people were just told, anytime you exercise this week, document it. Second group was told, before you exercise, watch some motivational videos, read a motivational book, and then document when you exercise. The third group was told, you are going to sit down with us right now, and you're going to plan out when you are going to work out this entire week, where you're going to work out this entire week, and at what time you're going to work out this entire week. And the studies revealed, after all was said and done, that the first 2 groups were almost identically the same. The second group, which was told to go watch motivation or read motivation before they exercised, only were 2% higher than the control group, who only had to document, which is scary, right? Because how much do we hear in the online space? You just need the motivation and the inspiration to go do this thing. Actually, motivation's a moot point. The number one thing, the number one trick or tip to go double or triple your success at anything is to have a plan, right? We've all heard that annoying cliche quote that if you fail to plan, or did I say that right? Yeah, fail to plan, then you plan to fail. It's annoying. I get it.
But it's true.
But it's so true. And again, these studies and these statistics prove it true. And so I would encourage you, I have something that I call a daily rush planner. It's something I've just created on my own through lots of different people's Unleash the Power Within, Tony Robbins event is where I first heard about this story. But it's just designing for yourself a plan in place in advance, not just one day in advance, because I'm going to be too tired tonight when I get off this with you, right? I'm not going to go plan before I go to bed. No. I've had a plan in place for months, weeks. I'm just using the same thing every dang day. Now I have different categories in there that help keep me accountable to, my life goals, my business goals, etc. But you have to scale it back to the basics. If you want to go crush it, so many people think that they have to go do all these crazy, wild things. I would encourage you to scale it back to the basics. Lean on what you know and have proven to work, whether it was from yourself or someone else, and you have the strategy to follow, and go all in on doing just that better. I always like to say, do less better, because if you can make moves there, a lot of times what will happen is it might be slow, but you can build momentum. And Metcalfe's law will apply, where 1 becomes 2 and 2 becomes 4 and 4 then becomes 8 and 16 and so on, right? Don't try to add more to your plate. Show up, be the one that the results you desire requires. So think about, if I'm making 6 figures already, how are you going to act? What type of social media post are you going to make? What email are you going to write? What event are you going to host? Okay. 9 times out of 10, you wouldn't be in that place of desperation if you were already making 6 figures, right? You'd be like, I'm awesome. I'm good at what I do. I know it. I'm confident in that. I'm going to pop this email out like a queen or a king and yada, yada, yada. Come at this from a space of knowing that it's not a matter of if, but when your success is coming. Become the one that the results you desire require, and go all in on just one foundational growth strategy. Do less better this quarter, and then you can build and add to it next.
I love that. Do less better. One of the things I teach in the community, I tell people all the time, I don't allow myself to learn from more than 3 people at one time. And my pastor is always one of them. So that's really 2, you know what I mean? Because when what I see a lot is that people will join a class, join a mastermind, join a thing, do it for a little while, feel a little bit good. And then, when it doesn't go the way they want to stop. But that's just not gonna work. long term. And I love that. Do less better. So I want to talk about this though, because, and I want to actually just say, to add to what you just said, do less better, as well as I ask all the time, what's something that you've already done at a high level that you can duplicate in a different area? So
Yeah.
I've launched, my wife and I, we launched an online coaching business where we teach people how to turn their story into a 6 and 7-figure business. But I want to give people grace on here, because you're just ripping and you're crushing. And I know you give people grace as well. I'm asking you the questions and you are over delivering right now. But here's the thing though. And guys, in the chat, if you're getting value from Jessie, put value. If you relate, put relate. We want to know. We read the comments and we want to definitely be a part of, helping you grow on here and learning with you. One of the things though, Jessie, is that when I'm looking at how we can grow and grow on a high level, like right now in this year, we're going to do less better. But what we're also going to do is we're going to surround ourselves with people that are already doing a little bit better. Because the fact of the matter is, I used to be like, we all know saying, if it's up to me, if it's going to be, it's up to me kind of, and I come from like a Jamaican background, like don't trust people. And I still have my parameters of who I hang out with. What would you say about being a part of a high level community, being around, we call them the icons, people that are going to help you grow to get yourself to the next level?
Yeah. Well, I mentioned something at the beginning of this episode where I said a lot of times we get the blessing now with what we do to help others compress decades into days, weeks, months, years, because we get to take this system that we've been educated in and experienced in, and we've proven it to work, and we get to pass it on to people, and they get to, skip over the roadblocks and all the things, which is awesome. And I think that that's one of the biggest things that I'm going to apologize. I'm listening to my kids in the background right now because there's 5 of them and daddy isn't home from one hockey team or the other. So I've got half a little minute sidetracked. Lost for a moment, but they're good. I heard them. They're fine. If you
don't gotta apologize. Anybody that's on here that knows,
they get it.
Babies weren't asleep, and they would come in here and pray for everybody right now. So
they get it. But I think that, that's the number one thing I wanted to say. Another is, and again, we hear a lot of those quotes that are honestly at some point, they're just like, okay, I've heard them enough. I've seen them shared enough on social media, which is something different entirely than living it. But, we've all heard that you are the sum of the 5 people closest to you. And this is where a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to give away my family, my friends. Don't. But then surround yourself, if you're on a business growth journey, with these new 5 friends. Something we say at the Millionaire Mompreneur Project is that alone we are strong, but together we are unstoppable. The truth is you have to have that support. Actually, statistics prove that there is in the marketing space, we're all in the marketing space here, Darren, you and I, and these people learning marketing. So in the marketing space, there is a less than 10% completion rate on things like courses and mentorship, et cetera.
Yeah, it's 7%.
Yeah, less than 10%, which is astounding. But the reason that is, the number one reason, is because there's a lack of support and accountability. So people need to be their hand held. They need to be shown the way. They need to be lifted up. They need to be reminded, challenged, etc., all the way through every day. And they need to not only do that in a one-on-one capacity, but in a group setting, because sometimes people need to be the fly on the wall before they'll be comfortable to raise a hand and ask questions or share input. And so if they can be a fly on the wall in a community and hear what other people are saying, other people are asking, other people are experiencing, they'll start to see themselves in those other people, and they'll realize they belong. And that will stoke a new fire inside of them to go after their dream again as well. So I could go off and give a million different reasons about the power of community, but those would probably be my top 2.
Well, I mean, the sense of belonging is something so, I don't want to call it small, but people don't realize that they lack. Think about it. Most people maybe they're working jobs, and you're at your job, you're doing your thing, you're earning an income, but do you really feel a sense of belonging? Some people in their own homes, you know what, if we're being 100, just be that kind of conversations, in their own marriages, in their own relationships, don't feel a sense of belonging. And so It's about knowing how to get around that right community to bring things to the next level and understand. Matter of fact, I was on a masterclass earlier today. I told you that. And, it's been a while since I was been able, because of just different things. We got another baby coming and all this stuff. And I hopped on this masterclass and I just kind of was, watching some people, and a lot of them were new. And I realized, like, man, I've grown a lot. A lot of these questions these people are asking is what I was asking a year ago. And man, our business has grown, my confidence has grown, but then I was able to pour back in. And I think one of the main things people need to understand right now, if you're listening to this, understand this right now, that a community will always overcome your willpower. Your willpower will let you down. You're motivated, you're inspired, you're ready to win, you're running, just like Jessie said. And then all of a sudden, something happens. It could be a sickness in the home, a death in the family, a financial thing, or you're just having a not good day. And you get to choose to love to have a community. And that's why, Jessie, we have an event coming up next week for those 2 days to teach, but also get people around that mindset and community. So you nailed that. I want to ask you another question, and it's tied into something that I'm realizing, realizing that I personally have done in the business that we're doing right now, where basically it's a new business, or close to almost scaling $1 million from doing it, in the last 2.5, 3 years. To God be the glory. This is not to boast or brag. Got a lot of growing to do. But here's what happened. I'm going to just, tell you straight up, and we're going to teach a little bit. We'll give you the real in on the 2-day event. And then we're going to drop the surprise with you in a moment after. But hear me out, sis, right? My wife and I built a network marketing company to the top level of the company, because you understand, you're in network marketing before. Yeah. We built to the top of the company in 4 years with an amazing team. Did not do it alone, leadership all over. But we did it. We started the group. We grew it naturally, organically. Never done anything like that before. Built the skill set. So learn how to invite, learn how to train, learn how to enroll, learn how to get people to events. We did all the things, right? Learn how to travel and show that online. What I didn't realize, that company went out of business in 2020. And then my heart for the industry, although I still love it, it just wasn't the same. I didn't like that another person could just say, hey, I'm going to make bad decisions and the company is going to go out of business. I also realized that it wasn't my brand. We built a team, but it belonged to someone else. So there was just a couple things that I wanted to impact people in a different way. But you know where I was stuck, like really stuck for a second though, Icon? I said to myself, even though I had this massive success, there was a moment, and you just spoke about it, that I felt like, how am I going to support my family? I was doing this thing. That thing is not there anymore. I was like, what am I going to do? I really felt that. Now, I didn't tell my wife, because I have a motto in my house. I told my wife, I said this, baby, you worry when I'm worried. Do I look worried? Right. So I got, but inside, I was worried. I was like, what am I going to do? Like, we popping out a kid, looks like every 12 and a half, 12 months or so right now, like the Skittles or something like that. So I bring this up because here's what I learned. I learned how to become cognitively competent of what I've already done. So I'm going to ask the community a question, then ask you, Jessie, to bring your flavor to this. Yeah. And the question is this: what is something that you've already done on a high level that you used skill that you got through? And you can't say nothing or you don't know. You can't say I don't know, or you can't say nothing. What is something that you've done? Now, it can be in a completely different industry of turning your story into income, but you've done something successful. You're a parent. Women, if you've had a child, that's something really successful. Whatever it is, what have you already done successfully? Because what I realized is, like, even if I don't know the online space that well, I just need to think about the things that I've done. I hit the top rank of a company in 4 years. It doesn't need to be that. Yeah. What was the mentality, the structure? What did you do then that you can implement now? And if you can find out how to have the same mindset, belief, even if you don't have the understanding, you can be iconic in that thing. So, Jessie, what's something in your past, even if you didn't recognize it then, that you then took and implemented into the Millionaire Mompreneur or into anywhere in your life that helped you have success because you became cognitively competent, understanding you've already done it, you can do it again?
There's a lot of things.
Well, choose the one that maybe you're surprised by.
Okay, let me think for a hot second, but let me also say to this that I think you're giving people a permission slip. And if you didn't catch that this was a permission slip, friends, I'm telling you, this is your permission slip to just take that thing that you've done, even if you have achieved a result and it's not better than other people out there, but it's good enough to where you got. I want this to be your permission slip that, again, that's good enough, because you don't have to help the people who are ahead of you. You only have to be willing to help the people who are behind you a step or two. Right? So good. This is what so many people don't understand.
Right.
And I'm asking you through this question that he's asking me, and he's asking you as well, to hear us telling you that we're asking you to identify something that you've done. I don't care if it's crocheting, okay? Something that you've done that you could get an end result in for yourself or with your sister, your daughter, your brother, your friend, your dad, I don't care who. And that if there were other people out there who were a step or two behind you, they'd love to maybe learn this. So why not you?
Yeah. No. That's so good, because here's because, everyone says like, oh, Jessie, that's so good, because what's happening is someone doesn't want to take a step forward because they feel like, because they haven't achieved a certain level of success in a thing, that disqualifies them for helping someone get somewhere where they are right now. No one validates where they are right now. They only think about where they want to be. And when you're not validating that, to get to where you are, you had to come from where you were, and someone is where you were. So if we can take our heads and pull it right out of that butt and really start to focus on, hey, no, I'm not where I want to be. Because right now we've got, like, in my community, bakers, sewers, babysitters. There's so many different talents of things that are valuable.
I don't know if this will bless someone or everyone, and I hope it does, but you see now my name here, Millionaire Mompreneur. I told you I make 7 figures, part-time hours, mom of 5, and that's grand. But remember, I told you at one point I was spending more than I made in my business.
Well, let's talk about this. Let's
that's what I mean. This is what I want to go there. To answer your question, I think it is that I first finally figured out how to get my business to pay for itself. And I wasn't teaching business at that point. I got passionate about business because I think of my struggles. Like I said, it happened for me, not to me. I could identify that later. And once I had finally been able to start stimulating some income, I just started teaching people, listen, this is how I made $1,000 last month. And then it furthered to, this is how I made $2,500. And this is how you can. And I want you to notice what I'm saying. I'm not saying how you can per se. I'm saying how I did. I'm teaching something through the lens of my personal education and or experience. And so that's what you need to do and should do. And I will tell you that that is something that maybe isn't talked about a lot online right now, but that is one way to make yourself stand out a lot. And a lot of people think that the way that's going to make them stand out is if they seem like they can help people. And I say, this is how you, and this is how anyone can. No, actually, people are only buying from people right now who are embracing their own unique personal story and their own unique personal methodology or way of achieving a X result. So I want you to know that you should embrace your way through this. And so obviously now I can teach people how to build 7-figure businesses, and I have. But at first it was just how to make $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year. And then it was their first $5,000 month. And then it was a 6-figure year.
Yep.
And I just kept advancing because I kept advancing, but I had to first be willing to start here when I felt like a total fraud. And you will grow too. And you might not even be teaching money, but Goodness gracious, if you can teach somebody how to make a killer banana bread without using 6 freaking bowls like I do over here with just 1 bowl, that is something you could teach and people would pay you for.
Well, the fact of the matter is, and this is something that I'm going to say that I know people struggle with and they don't even know that they do, which is, are you willing to sell yourself? Are you willing to sell the value of who it is and what you're going to do? I was talking to a mentor and he said, before even Jesus, before he asked for anything, put his gifts on display. Before he asked anyone to follow him, he put his gifts on display. He showed people, hey, I can produce value. That's why you should follow me. And I'm super proud. I want to shout out the community real quick. We got tons of people going live, starting their podcast, launching masterclasses. And guess what? They might not be that great all the time. And the value, and it's like you might even be getting some, not people, as many people watching. But if you stick it out and continue to work on your value and continue to find ways to get better than you were yesterday, turn your problems into projects. Progress is the process. I'm just telling you, turn your problems into projects. Progress is the process. And then I'll just tell you, I haven't said this in a long time, but you're not being picked on. You've been picked. I think people are like, why is it so hard? Why isn't my business growing yet? Or, oh my goodness, who's going to want to hear from me? Or who's going to want to buy banana bread? Well, there are people out there that are going to want that value. And if you don't put it out there and you don't work on it, dare I say, you have to work for someone else that did.
Yeah. Amen.
So,
And
go ahead.
I will add to what you said, because two things, and I loved your problems, example. I always say, and everybody loves this when I say it, so maybe, hopefully you guys do too. If not, that's okay. Maybe whatever. It's just my community. But I always tell people, right, that the things that are happening to you are happening for you, not to you. And I tell you that your flops, your biggest flops even, are actually flop opportunities that you can learn from and grow from and make your own. And when it comes to content to make yourself stand out online, which I know we're not going there, but you were just hinting to it a little bit. And I'm going to say it with, the story you were talking about Jesus, about how he put his talents and gifts on display.
Did.
Please hear me when I say, you don't need to create content to try to stand out and sell yourself or your service or your product or your offer. All you got to do is, let's take this back to the beginning, become the one the results you desire require, and document the journey with your content.
People will see
all of a sudden, that will make content feel a whole lot easier, because when you show up just documenting the journey, doing this with or without them, guess what? Inviting them to come along, eventually they will come.
Yeah.
So give yourself the permission slip to stop trying so dang hard to build this business and to make all these sales, and just be about it all day, every day, no matter whether people come or not. Keep showing up, keep inviting. We talk around here, the Millionaire Mompreneur Project, that we don't fake it till we make it. We show up to blow up. We show up as the one that the results we desire require. And when we do consistently, everything happens.
It's next level. I mean, that's just so good, All right. So hold on. I got to say one thing, though. I don't want anyone to misconstrue. This is the Jamaican coming out of me, the New York. Don't get it twisted that no one's going to purchase from you or me or Jessie if you have something purchasable. Well, first of all, no one's going to purchase if you don't have anything to purchase. No one's going to purchase if you don't put yourself out there. But also, no one's going to purchase or want to be a part of what you're doing if it doesn't produce value. So we're not talking about cutting corners. Yes, be the best version of yourself and add value. Don't look to just sell something. Look to impact people. I'm always looking to get way more return on the impact from the value than the income, because income is going to come and go, and hopefully it continues to come. But the value is super important. But I just want you guys to know as well, no one owes you or me anything. Produce that value. Put your best foot forward. Spend the time. Learn your community. Learn the things. And do the best that you can as you move forward. Would you agree with that, Jess?
Yeah. And I will say too, when you lead with impact as your primary motive, the income will actually then be just the natural byproduct, right? We've all heard serve over sell. And what I always say is just lead with that impact over income, because the income will naturally come along with it.
Yeah, it will. And I, I get it. I get, because I was like, how am I going to make this thing happen? What are we going to do to take things to the next level? And, long story short, action obviously cures all. But also just having that faith that, it's going to work out to do it long enough. So, hey, we're going to get ready to wrap this up. So we have a quick surprise. I wasn't able to put it on there, but first of all, right now, I see you guys on here. Thank you for the love. I see you putting value. If Jessie's giving you value, if you're excited to hear from us and hear both of us, just, we're friends. We're just talking. This is how we talk when we're not on live. We're just like, well, this is really us. We both get so passionate and love working with each other. If you're getting value from what Jessie and I are saying, put yes in the chat. I can't move on until I see it. I just want to make sure. If it's a no, you don't have to say anything. But put yes in the chat. Jessie, I'm about to text you something right now so you can see it, because I'm really loving it right now, okay? So put yes in the chat if you're seeing value. Jessie, I just texted you this over. Okay, we got a couple of yeses coming in right now. Yes, yes, yes. So the best I can do is show you in this. You see Jessie doing a little dance. So ladies and gentlemen, and Davey, I know that you're there. Do us a favor. I'm going to just do it like this. All right. This just in, Jessie's doing it too. Next Monday, Jessie's going to be our value. So Instagram gets love. Jessie Bouton's going to be our value. Look at that picture icon. You like that? My pregnant wife did that. Look at the shout out to my wife.
She's a rock star.
She is. Jessie is going to be the special guest speaker on our 2-day event. It's going to be next level. And we're going to uncover, Jessie, like literally, I have been taking notes. I'm going to be sharing some no, they can't. I don't want them. I'm going to be sharing some new on this event because, the Lord has done a work in me. I love what I'm doing. I love being able to coach people and I really am called in a lot of ways to be in this space. But I've got some concepts and some things that the Lord, I'm going to be bringing up scriptures, by the way, too, y'all. I'm just letting you know, like the Lord has just changed the game. Without him, none of this happens. But and I'm about to love on you in a whole second, Jesse. So just give me a second here to just tell these people this event Monday and Tuesday, the 15th and 16th, literally, we are looking to instill true value and impact in a person's life, that they can take it and they can go implement it, have faith, listen, and get knocked down for that flopportunity, turning their problems into projects. Okay? Flop forward if you've got to, okay? And we're going to do it on a high level, but you've got to show up with an attitude to receive, camera on, ready to learn, with faith, with an anointing. I would pray, not just for the event, but in general. What about this new year is going to be different for you? What about 2024 is going to be special for you and for your family and for your finances? What's holding you back right now that's trying to remove you from the blessing the Lord has put in front of you? We are going to help you uncover those things and execute on an iconic level. So, Jessie, as we take this in for our landing, give our people some. I see how fired up you are. You are genuinely fired up right now.
I am.
I am as well, and I'm so grateful. So just give the people something that they can just chew on until next week. By the way, Davia, please put the link in the chat on Instagram and Facebook. You can sign up for the Turn Your Iconic Unique Story into 6 and 7 Figures. Myself and Jessie Bouton and our communities will be on there. It's going to be next level. Jessie, take us home.
Well, I was going to say two things, and it's that number one, I wish an event like this existed when I was first getting started, because again, I really struggled with that self-doubt in believing that what we're talking about is possible for little old me. And I know that there's a lot of people that are going to be so blessed from this. And no matter what, there's going to be a lot of ahas. I think that's one of the things that I love about you, Darren, is you really try to bring people into the awareness sphere of things that are holding them back. And we kind of just you just knock things down really fast. You're like, okay, I know that this is what's blocking you. So boom, here's an exercise or here's a tool of how we can move that. And you do it in a way that feels simple, because simple is doable, right? That's what we all need. And that is one of the reasons why I think I'm so passionate about you and the way that you do things. And the second thing I was going to say, that again, I should probably be saying something more, blah, 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 that like talks all about my methodology or whatever, but I don't want to. I really feel called. I was thinking of the time that you had me on your event, just literally the day after you came to my in-person live event and spoke, and how on fire both of those experiences were. You in my community, me in yours. And even still to this day, our girls, just this last week, one of them wanted to dig into what's that mantra that Darren gave us. And next thing you know, before I could even get in there and answer, the other girls that were there were already like reminding her. And then they started a chant in our community. And what you did was you helped them find the power that they already have in them. And you help them learn how to use that power to lift themselves up instead of tear themselves down, which is what so many of us are doing. We all have the power. God gave it to us. We were born with it.
For sure.
And it's time to stop using that power to hold yourself back and instead lift it up. And that's what this event is going to do. And if you can join us, please join us. Would love to get to know you and your dreams better and help you hold your hand along the journey to actually bringing it into reality in 2024.
For sure. And I appreciate the kind words. I did just Cash App you, so we're all good. I don't use Cash App anymore. So.
This is the power of community, friends, too, right? Like Darren, we've known each other now a few years, but we were strangers and we just connected because we were in a like-minded community of people on the same journey. And we started to network a little bit. And before you knew it, we wanted to collaborate. And now, I call him one of my dearest friends.
For sure.
So
if I don't hear from Jessie for too long, I hit her up like, yo. And she's like, I know. And but honestly, you're a mom of 5. Like,
I'm always like, I'm sorry, I miss you. Let's talk.
Send me your calendar. We're actually going to be on the phone talking on Thursday. But I want y'all just to know, right, like how real this is. Like, I called Jessie yesterday, Monday, just because it's been too long. We ended up talking for an hour and a half or something like that. And I'm like, yo, you need to be on my podcast tomorrow. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, you know what? You need to come to my event tomorrow as well. And she's like, yeah. And I will be doing stuff for her, but I just want y'all to understand the true joy. And we want that for you because you have communities too that people are just going to get value from you and the partnerships that you create and the things that you're really doing and the lives that you're getting ready to bless. So if you're fired up about taking 2024, not just because it's the new year, but really because you're ready to take the steps with the people that want to lock arms with you and help you win. And understand there will be haters, but I call them confused admirers. So just know when you make new decisions, there's new confused admirers that are going to have something to say. But what's going to be different about you this year? Make a decision, declare it, write it down. And Jessie and I and our community are going to come together next week to give you value. All right? So with that being said, let's pray and ask the Lord into this and wrap it up. Lord, first of all, before we ask you for anything, want to thank you, Lord. Thank you for this platform. Thank you for the community. Thank you for people watching live, the replay. Thank you for Jessie, her babies that are out there watching a movie right now, her husband that's on the way home. Lord, we just give you all the glory. There's maybe some people on here right now that don't believe in who you are, Lord. You still are there for them. And I ask for peace and grace and anointing, Lord. Praying for my wife that's getting ready to have this baby at any moment. Lord, that you bless it. Healthy mom, healthy baby. I'm praying for any iniquities and hardships people out there are having in their family, in their finances, that you bless them, you lead them, you guide them, that you uplift them, Lord. You put your hedges of protection around us, Lord. And people have the faith and desire, not just build businesses and make money, but find their true callings, live out their purpose, Lord, and live happy lives. We give you all the glory and all the praise in your name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, BeICONIC Conversations. Jessie Bouton, where can we find you?
Jessie Harris Bouton on Instagram and Millionaire Mompreneur Project.
Let's go. We appreciate you. Instagram, we're signing off. We thank you so much. God bless you. Remember, share this and DM me. All right. And Facebook Live, again, we also do appreciate you. We will see you soon. Thanks for hopping on another Be Iconic Conversations. Good night.